Hey everybody, it's Neil from Heavyocity, and I'm back here with you again. We're going to do a demo walkthrough for a new product that we have called Mosaic Voices. There's also another product called Mosaic Keys. So Mosaic is a new line that we have, and these two products are being released at the same time. So we're going to have some preset playthroughs, we're going to have some content overviews. So my focus is really going to be the kind of real world use of the product in a song. So why don't we just jump right into it? All right, so down here you can see the tab Mosaic Voices, and I've got an entire contact instance loaded with them. I'm also using a couple of sounds from Mosaic Keys, which we'll also get into and just show you really quickly, what that is. There's going to be a separate video for that. And then I'm using some of our strings to augment stuff. We have intimate textures, rhythmic textures, playing some violins, violas, and cellos. And then there's some percussion. I'm using gravity for some big kind of boom hits and some ethnic drums. We also have some ensemble woods for some of the clackety stuff. And finally, Aeon for some cool kind of melodic hits. And gravity again with more booms. All right, so why don't we play the piece down and then we can talk about what I did here. Here we go. All right, so let's jump into it from the top. So we have an intro here, and this is a gated reverse oo part. So there's the MIDI for it. So there's three parts making this sound up. And different lengths of the vocal swells too. So here's the third part. So I didn't mention this in the beginning, but it's a mix of organic vocals and also processed like hybrid vocals, making it have a unique sound. So you can hear the three together. Let me play it now with them all in. Kind of a neat sound to that. And there's a lot of effects kind of going on here. So this is the Mosaic engine, and we can see under space. Space is what we're calling the section for delay and reverb, and each channel has its own. So there's a decent amount of delay on each of these parts and reverb on two of the three. And then there's a master effects section, and there's also reverb there. Let's go to the next part so you can hear some of this other goodness. So bar 10. So interesting, this third channel is more of a hybrid thing. You can still hear the vocal flavor in it. So together again. And on these, there's an arpeggiator. So if we solo this part, cycling through different velocities at a rate of an eighth note. Now channel 2. And if we go into control, which is again the main effects page, and you look at filter, you can hear this middle channel has a filter kind of opening, and then you'll see it's closing. It gives the voice some movement and a little bit more character, I guess. So put into the mix. All right, cool. So let's check out this other section. It's called Giant Ocean Wave. And that's definitely more in the hybrid lane than anything. It is made from vocals, but it's kind of eerie and a little creepy. So if we start blending a couple of these parts together, the dancing staccatos and this giant ocean wave, and then 18, kind of the second half of the first section of this. I'm going to jump right to that. There is this moving vowel blend. Let's just play that alone. So it's a solo female vocal played, there's chords happening here. The next part in this preset is so that's solo male versus the solo female. And then the last part in this preset is solo male 2. So together it's kind of a neat blend of different solo vocal performances stacked and played as chords. Decent amount of reverb. So if we pick it up a little bit before that, so you can hear that vocal part come in, we'll go to 16, it's 2 bars before. So that's the first section of this demo, this unnamed demo. And if we listen to some of the other parts that are happening to kind of augment the piece, I'm going to jump down to the keys. 3, 4. Kind of a moving, propelling, almost like this circular feel to it. And if you listen with the vocals in, it makes a little more sense as far as the time goes. It's just another texture in there. I think it kind of moves it in an interesting way. I'm going to unsolo everything, and you'll hear there's a cello line going on and some rhythmic components. So the other parts that are just gluing this together are really just a loop and the boom. So if we go to this loop, let's see. And here, it's a little softer. Unsolo that. Check out the next section. So the center section here, it's kind of a transition. Let's go to 29, bar 29, and listen to what's happening with these organic crescendos. This is coming from Voices. All right, so that's a lot of notes. So we have a kind of a higher section, and it's just doubled an octave lower. Some of the notes I took out. The white notes are muted, and we've got the bottom, so. And so on. So against some other parts here, right? That's kind of this gated vocal vibe thing happening, and it really kind of moves it along. It's not really loud, but it's in there. So the main one is the first channel that's really chugging along. Channel 2. Half the duration. Different rhythm here. And those are like subtly ghosted underneath. It's almost like a reverb effect with the other vocals doing different rhythms. All right, so those two together, along with some of the supporting elements. We've got some hits and got this drum happening and a key line. Let's play just the Mosaic keys and the two vocal parts in this section. And then this other section, the third section, is a main melody, which is reinforced with vocals, strings, and the keys. So let's play this middle section and see what the drums are doing. I'll add in the ethnic frame drum. And to add a little more impact, we have these gravity breakout menu hits. They're sub booms again. There you go. 2, 3, 4. Pretty chunky rhythm, and the ethnic frame drums come from the ethnic drum ensembles from master sessions. All right, so let's put that in with everything. So this whole section, as I was saying, there's this melody that starts to develop. The vocals kind of take a back seat, and the piano and the strings really do the talking on the melody here. Just a rhythmic thing happening. Progression. One, two, ready, go. Cool. All right, so these vocals here, this organic we start right here. Those sustains, pretty cool. And if we add those in with the strings, it really reinforces the melody in a nice way. So there's a bit of like an interplay happening with the strings are playing the melody in this intro section here at 37, and then it modulates up an octave where you have the vocals coming in, and they're pretty expressive. So sometimes you don't really hear every note the same volume. They kind of peak in a little bit, and to me that sounds a little more authentic or real. Let's just take a quick look at the strings alone. And on the second half, you hear the violin jumps up an octave to give it a little more space, and it also reinforces when the vocals come in an octave up there as well. So if we start at 44, that's bar 44. Pretty effective. And again, there's a lot of drums and booms going on underneath, which we kind of covered, and they just get bigger and louder in this third section as opposed to the interlude or like the center section, the breakdown. That was the word I was looking for, breakdown. And the one thing I did miss is I have these Aeon hits. Aeon is a melodic instrument that we have, and it's got these neat melodic but aggressive. They're melodic and they have some punch to them, which is, I guess, playing them is the best way to explain what they sound like. So it's a pretty bold kind of statement, and now you'll hear it in the mix a little bit better. So I use them because they cut through, they're aggressive, they're a little crunchy, and there's some space for those things to exist on the bottom. They add a little aggressiveness to it, and then you have this really kind of pretty floaty violin melody, which is augmented by the higher voices on top. So if we start down at 44, right before the octave voices start in, you'll hear it all gel together. Cool, so this little chunk of audio here, what is that? Let's check it out. If you remember, that is how we began the piece. So kind of a cool way to end it the way it began. So let me play the whole thing through, and you can just hear all the parts together, how they're working and gelling. Enough talking about that. Here we go. Cool. So that's my demo for Mosaic Voices. Hope you guys enjoyed listening to this demo walkthrough, and it gave you a sense of the product being used in action. Check it out on our website. Again, it's the new Mosaic line. There's Mosaic Voices and Keys being released at the same time, and they also are two flavors that go great together. And thanks for tuning in and watching. Have a great one.